a little while ago, Mama. Where'd you go?
Hey guys, I know y'all are super excited, and today I'm going to be talking to y'all about contrast. And welcome to my presentation. Contrast is the difference in density or difference in the degree of grayness between areas of the radiographic image. It is one of the two properties that contribute to visibility of detail. KVP is the controlling factor that has the most direct effect on the radiographic image. An example being, as KVP increases, contrast decreases, or as KVP decreases, contrast increases. Photoelectric interaction is one of the principal forms of interaction of X-ray and gamma photons with matter. A low-energy photon interacts with an electron in the atom and removes it from its shell. So, with that being said, when using a low kilovoltage peak, photoelectric interactions are more common and causes high contrast. Compton interaction is one of the principal forms of photon interaction. It is the main cause of scattered radiation in a material. It occurs due to the interaction of the photon, X-ray or gamma, with free electrons, unattached to atoms or loosely bound valence shell, outer shell electrons. An example being, when using high kilovoltage peak, there are more Compton interactions causing low contrast. Low contrast and high contrast differ. In low contrast demonstrates many shades of gray, decreased contrast, high KVP, long scale contrast, and a large dynamic window width range. High contrast, on the other hand, demonstrates few shades of gray, increased contrast, low KVP, short scale contrast, and a short dynamic window width range. And right here I am demonstrating two images of an elbow, one demonstrating low contrast and one demonstrating high contrast. Image contrast is the total amount of contrast acquired from both the image receptor and anatomical part, and are described as image receptor and subject contrast. Film contrast is the range of densities that the film is capable of recording and depends on four factors. 1. Intensifying screens. 2. Film density. 3. The D-log E curve. And 4. Processing. Subject contrast is the range of differences in the intensity of the X-ray beam after it has been attenuated by the subject and is dependent on two factors. 1. Kilovoltage, and 2. Amount and type of irradiated material. Kilovoltage peak, also known as KVP, is the primary controller of subject contrast. As you can see below, I have 3 different images demonstrating 3 different types of KVP. Low KVP produces higher subject contrast because most of these low energy photons are absorbed by thicker parts while more penetrate the thin part. Above, I have a scale representing a high contrast, low kVp exposure. High kVp produces subject contrast and is decreased because more uniform penetration occurs between thick and thin parts. Below, I have a scale representing low contrast, high kVp exposure. The primary function of a grid is contrast improvement. This is done by removing scatter before it reaches the IR. Below, I have two examples of an image, one representing with no grid, one representing with the grid. Wouldn't you say it's pretty obvious there's a difference? Anatomical parts affect contrast in many ways because as the anatomical part size increases, the amount of scatter created by the part also increases, resulting in a decrease in contrast. There are many characteristics and qualities of the finished radiograph, kVp being the primary controlling factor, along with influencing factors such as mass, focal spot size, filtration, grids, amount of irradiated tissue, OID, anode hill effect, distance, and collimation. Unfortunately, this is our goodbye. But if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you. Wait, hold up! I put together a few pictures demonstrating the difference between high contrast and low contrast, and here they are. Spider-Man. Yep. House music.